You watched Sean's video last week.
Yeah.
How's it going, everybody? What's going on? Sounds super sweet. Thanks, guys. How's it going? It's getting to love a Revv Fender kind of night. Yeah, we figured we'd change it up tonight because we play our own amps so much on here that we figured it'd be fun to play someone else's amps. Yeah. Hey, Dave, how's it going? Hello. Hey, Johnny, how's it going? Oh, my dad's here. What's up? Fender tone's so good. Yeah, we were just talking about how you were saying the G2 through the Deluxe Reaver is a nice combo, but I think in general, just I haven't sat down. Like, I think just because of how like the Deluxe Reaver is kind of like the standard, I never really will like seek out sitting down and jamming on them. Yeah, but you know, it is what it is.
It's a staple, man,
for a reason, dude. Yeah, yeah. Exactly. It's just such a nice sounding platform, and that's what we're going to talk about today. How's everyone's Wednesday? Thanks for tuning in, as always. Yeah, we got Brad in with us this week. We figured everyone loves Brad. Should have Brad back on the stream.
Guys, thank you so much.
Guys, thank you. I've been looking forward to this.
It's my pleasure, Sam.
Yeah, no, it's nice having you back, man. I was saying it's nice having like so many guys around the shop that are just like totally different players, and when we come up with these topics, it's like, oh man, yeah, like 100%, like you'd be the guy to have on this one. We have so many people with like different experiences and you know, different playing styles. Mm-hmm. We're really lucky to have that here for sure.
That's awesome.
How's everyone's week going? I like to always ask anyone pick up anything new this week, any fun new gear, new pedals, new anything like that, any fun new musical ventures that you guys are working on that you want to share with us. Does he ship before it's time to rock, or just working in the shop? I will say I just like these shirts. Like, it wasn't necessarily a brand thing. I was just like, oh, this is like a nice material. Like, it's like a heavy duty material. So,
but just like everything else, it turned into some like fashion thing that was.
Yeah, no, I didn't buy it for like the hip factor. It was literally like I just like saw the shirt and I was like, oh,
nice shirt,
yeah, and I feel it's like, man, this is like nice fabric. So it's like good for around the shop.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's like, wait, do you wear construction? No, you're not allowed to wear that shirt.
I feel like it was like, yeah, like old construction worker or just like hipster coffee shop person. It's like
there's no in between. It's just like the pendulum, man.
Yeah,
construction or hipster. Like,
it swings both ways very hard and not in the middle.
Yeah,
yeah. Another week, no new gear. Anthony, what's wrong, man? I feel like you gotta get back on the game, man. Might be a record. I was gonna say it might be a record. Tuttle Les Paul tomorrow. My second sold because you sold. Oh, I didn't even know you had one before, Kyle. Okay, so I know Sean has a couple of the Tuttle guitars. Do you know the deal with those?
No, I don't.
I've heard of them like a lot. I think it's Michael Tuttle, and I've not had a chance to try Sean's or any of the ones that have been around, but I've heard like super good things about them. So, we're on my first. Oh, what's up, dude? How's it going? Good to see you in here. Working on my first solo instrumental release and bought a beaten up RA7. Nice, dude, from a friend that might be work with my emo punk band. Nice. That sounds like something I would like. Just Robbie. Yeah, wow, you are dumb. That's nice. Cool, man. Yeah, that's sweet. What have you been working on, dude? I feel like you said you were pretty busy with like a lot of session stuff and.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, Brad does. So also, aside from being a great guitar player and working in the shop here, you do some production. Is like production stuff, or is it mostly guitar session work? Or
I've done like live audio and stuff like that, but I just love the the studio aspect where I kind of let my mind take free of what I'm doing, I guess. So I guess I love doing a lot of mixing, editing, all that kind of stuff. Kind of in between. I've been working on I'm also a fiddle player. I guess we had mentioned that on 2 or 3 streams ago.
Yeah.
So I've been working on my solo fiddle album since like 2015.
Nice.
And procrastination has the best of me, and I just have 2 other clients that I'm working with as well. So
I also feel like it's really easy to procrastinate these days.
You're not wrong there, man.
No, man. Yeah. So you're sitting at home, it's like, I have nothing to do. I could work on stuff, but I'm not going to.
I know.
It's so easy just to settle in. But oh, Jacob, nice dude. Yeah, we'll go over all the G series pedals and how we like to use them. Cool, whatever that is. Love base XYZ. Thanks. The spam found us, guys. The bots are here.
That didn't take long.
Let's go. No, the internet demons have arrived. Oh no, dude! I will say, since like we're getting a lot more contact form emails now, and in the last like 3 weeks, I've gotten an insane amount of like Russian bot emails that are like things like that. It's out of control. The internet's busy.
Mr. Tubbs.
Hey, Sean. Yeah, absolutely. How's it going, man? Thanks for tuning in. Tuttle does about great guitars. I just got the one. Yeah, the one you used in the last video. And Sean's. We just uploaded that D20 song video on YouTube. All joking aside, I really enjoy these live streams. Thanks for keeping it lighthearted. Oh, no problem, man. We're definitely here to have fun. That being said, Canadian bacon is just ham. Ham's good too, man. It's all good. Terminator mode activated. Everyone's loving it. I like how it was like from YouTube too. It's like someone is like trying to lure us into the dark web via YouTube. No, it's allowed. We need to filter Kyle. Let's figure it out.
That was pretty intense. That was straight to the point.
It was, yeah. They don't, dude. They got to do this on like 20,000 websites today, man. They don't got a lot of time.
I felt like I was forced to do it. That came pretty close there.
You can see how people get baited with these things. Cool. Birthday's next week. Should I get a G4 and complete the Triforce? Absolutely, you should, dude. I will say, like, sitting down with them, and I admittedly use the G2 and the G3 probably the most. But sitting down and kind of dialing the G4 and the G3 the same way, like, they totally have a different flavor and, like, a different, like, mid-range character mostly. So, like, I guess we can talk about, you know, all the different approaches to how we, you know, use these as an amp in a box type thing, or as just a pedal. Like, I really do find the G-Series stuff to be quite multifunctional in that regard.
Extremely.
Yeah, and, you know, with a single channel amp, you know, I feel like generally if you're going to be treating them as amp in a box pedals, you're going to be starting with a cleaner amp. And I feel like a lot of people, that's the situation that they get put in on gigs if you're not using a modeler or something like that, is you'll show up and there's like a Blues Junior or a Deluxe Reverb, or if you're lucky, there's like a matchless DC30 or something. We're just talking about that, how that's like the new box.
That's bougie.
Yeah,
man,
if you get a matchless and backline, then pat that backline team on the back, because that's sick. But either way, like, you're generally in that format going to get a clean amp that will break up when it gets hot.
Yeah,
basically. And I think the idea with that, and the reason that's kind of stayed as a staple, is because you have room to roll back, because you're going to be rolling back off the amount that the tubes are pushing. So like, you can roll back and still get a clean from that, but you get kind of the breakup in the power section of the amplifier that allows it to stack more nicely with drive pedals and stuff like that. So it's not
finding that sweet spot, right?
Yeah, not just relying on the drive pedals to get the gain for you, like it is building on all of that. So yeah, like, I don't know, like, what's your kind of amp of choice in that regard, would you say? Like, we got, I mean, I will say, just so you can take a look here, we decided to pull out the JMP tonight and the Deluxe Reverb, which are two very different single channel combos, but they are both essentially just single channel combo amps. Yeah. With, fortunately, the ability to disconnect the speaker so we can run them through the torpedo. We did try miking up some stuff, but we're still battling the bleed here. But yeah, like, they're two very different single channel amps. So, you know, what do you look for in a single channel amp, would you say?
If honestly, I literally traveled with the
Were you hearing him? You are? Okay, you're just out of my ears. Never mind.
Oh.
It's all good.
I mean, essentially, I don't know, for like 10 years I was literally traveling with a Hot Rod Deluxe.
Oh yeah.
And that's also like a backline staple too. It's like, if I roll up to that, I see that, like, it's just like, cool, that's exactly what I'm gonna play. So if it's either that, or else I'm a big Dr. Z-Rec kind of guy. I find with an amp like that, you're not really needing a compressor. It just has that built-in,
like,
well, I mean, that's how they build it, right? I mean, it's just, you're gonna get that.
Can I get a bit of Brad in my ears, just as vocal? Thanks, Manny. Sorry. And with the Hot Rod, like, I'm not.
It doesn't.
I should know this because it's like a very common Fender amp, but I'm not, like, I was never like a huge Fender amp user.
Right.
That one does have like a preamp gain knob on it, right? Like, it actually has, like, it does have a gain knob.
It does, yes, it does. I find with that one, it doesn't break up as fast.
Right.
You can, and it's so loud.
I feel like yeah, it's like the amps that are made to have a little more of that aggressive preamp gain don't break up as much in the power section right away.
Exactly. Yeah. I find when I was playing, I was probably in between the 2 and the 3, like, no joke.
Yeah.
But I was running a compressor with it too. Yeah. So you're just adding, took the compressor off. Like, if I was touching 4 or 5, no breakup, but it's just like the stage volume was obscene.
Yeah.
So,
totally. Yeah.
I mean, that's why.
Sorry. Yeah, no, and I realize that's why I'm talking really loud. I can't hear my own voice either. So if I'm yelling at you guys, I'm sorry. I just realized I was like,
calm down,
wow,
Sam.
I'm like, Brad's really quiet and articulate. It sounds like I'm screaming. Oh, I can't hear myself in my ears. That's what's going on. We rigged up. I actually have a wireless pack today, which we haven't used yet. So that's all good. And Manny, if it's a huge trouble, I can just be mindful of how loud I'm yelling at everybody. So
just yell, man.
Just go.
Just get your point across.
So sorry. To loop back around to that, did you find that because you had the option to get some of your dirt from the amp itself that you would use that, or did you still kind of treat it like a platform? Like, do you prefer going in with that type of amp to get most of your tone from the front end?
I would be using actual like drive pedals to get my drive, and I would just use it strictly for clean.
Right.
I wouldn't be pushing it at all. So I relied on pedals to get that crunch.
Take a look at a few of the comments here. Sorry. I had a Fender Blues Junior for a few weeks playing at home, and it was way too much. Yeah, like that's well. I mean, what's funny is because it is a lower wattage combo. It's not really that much, but to get what you want from an amp like that, you definitely have to push it really, really hard.
I've seen some guys.
But yeah, when you were able to push that in that situation, like that's kind of what we were talking about. It's like it's just on the edge.
Yeah.
And like no matter what you put in the front, like it'll hit it in a way that it picks up on it. But like when you want to roll it back, it will respond, and the tubes will just everything down a bit.
And I've noticed on this reverb that I'm on 3.
I don't have any guitar either now, Manny.
So
that's okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I have. Oh, there we go. Wow, maybe I'm just an idiot. You know what? Hang on. Sorry, guys. It's good. I got it. It's being finicky. It's like, yeah, it's all good. We're good. Love and set of feel. Yeah, you definitely need to get, and that's why these things are so great, man. Because like I'd say we're actually pushing these amps like fairly hard going into the front.
When we're setting up, I had to find that fine line of like right before breakup, and it's literally on between 3 and 4 right now.
Do you prefer using just like the normal channel, or do you like having the second channel in here? Like, is it? This is me being an ignorant Fender person, but like, is it aside from the vibrato?
I've never done much.
Essentially the same channel.
Work with this amp,
right?
On, like basically almost mainly from tonight.
Great.
So I've never gone into the custom side.
Yeah. I feel like
that's like
right where you want it.
Right, exactly.
So your right hand is out of control, dude. That attack is so nice. That's sick. Doing live sound, I never want anyone having a Hot Rod Deluxe running over 3 crazy amounts of volume for what it is. Yeah. I will say these things get super, super hot, like volume-wise. That amp doesn't want to break at all. Yeah. Jacob, I use Orange Crush for my clean pedal platform. No issues with it. Yeah, dude, honestly, the Orange Crush stuff's great. Like the little CR combos that we'd sell a ton of those at Quest for the price. They're wicked little amps. Yeah. I think on my end too, like I kind of prefer that. Like if I'm put into a situation where I need to use one amp, having it where it's just a little bit on the edge, if I have the ability to roll back, is probably also where my preference would be. Because I feel like you definitely do. Like people always ask me kind of, though I have a D20 and a G20 and be like, I find the D20 takes pedals like a lot differently. And I guess like on a clean channel that like part of, I guess the big thing for me with running pedals into any amp at all, when it's going to be all of your tone coming from the front end, is like gain staging. It's not like getting all of your gain from one source at all. Like there's so many different variables that have to work together in that regard. So I think having a source tone that can go in either direction is good, as opposed to having one that is too clean or too hot. You can't really do anything about it. So when the amp is like super, super ultra clean, you might not be able to get kind of the front end push or like tube saturation that you would want from it. So I think I kind of come from the same field, even though I do prefer my cleans to be very clean.
Yeah.
If I have to have one sound, I need to be able to pull it either way.
I think that's why this G2, where this is set at, is just working absolutely like pocket. Like it's right there. It's just because it's on the edge, but yet still clean.
Yeah.
And it just complements it.
And you can use it like, well, as we go through, we'll get into it. But like, I definitely like to use the G2. Like, I find I use the G3 and the G4 more as the channels, where I use the G2 to kind of like push those. Like,
yes,
you can kind of stage it down the line. But yeah, like for the edge of breakup stuff, the G2, absolutely. Anthony SI, with the volume at 3 to 4 without so loud. Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. And we tried, like, even with Derek's Bassman, like we tried miking it before this, and like to get it at a point where it was putting out a tone that we were happy with, it was just like way too loud.
Yeah.
So when's gonna write G20 G20 combo? That's a good idea. I don't know. I don't know, but combo amps are sweet. So yeah. So I would kind of start. Did I just lose everything? Oh, I keep turning my volume down. That's what's going on, Manny. This is all my fault.
I'm so sorry.
I thought you blamed Manny for that.
Like, Manny, this is all my fault. I keep looking at you like, what's going on? It's like as I'm turning, like where the headphone jack is, it's turning the volume down. So I'd probably start somewhere around there too, like pretty bright.
It's a glassy.
Yeah. Like, but when I want to roll it back.
It's very defined.
It is, yeah. And I will say, like, this is again my first, like, I like Marshalls, but I haven't tried this, and I have the EQ literally flat with the preamp at like everything's flat. I am in the low gain input, I will say. Okay. You know, and there is, you know, I'll quickly just do this. Sorry, Manny, if this, you can immediately hear that. This is the high gain input. So
my ears.
It gets a lot hotter, but even at the edge of the low gain one, like, you have the ability to push the preamp gain to like to there. So like you're getting a little bit of like it's definitely
a different sound.
It's definitely different than
it's
the Fender.
Super vintage.
It's like I don't know what year this is. I think this is 70s, but like that British power section, and I'm definitely a fan of that. Like for like any of those like kind of like those types of tones, like having that power section that breaks up that way is super key. So yeah, I probably as a starting point would go somewhere around there. Like just any more and it would be distorted.
Yeah, 100%.
It's kind of a good starting point. And I like you, like a little bit of compression, but not enough that it's going to get like, you know, the hyper sustained, like.
Yeah. I find there's a point like right before breakup where it almost kind of like, I don't know if like accentuates like the low end just a little bit more, almost like a natural compression right before it breaks up.
Yeah.
That's where I kind of like, or just like, depending on what I'm doing, with a pick. You could literally hear it just right at the end of the pick stroke.
It's the material of the shirt. Nice. Never gets misplayed before turning on the volume down in his ears by accident. Yeah, exactly. Dude, I will say the first time I went to play in-ears, I was such a noob, like with how I dialed everything. That we could do like a whole other live stream on that because that's a whole other art. But like I absolutely felt like a massive noob playing with in-ears for the first time.
It's an experience.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of about where I would go. And I feel like, you know, what would you say are like some staple pedals for you? Like aside from like specific overdrives, like what is something when you're going into a situation where you're going to be dealing with an amp like this that you need to get it to the point that you want, like before hitting any of the drive stuff?
Like before drives?
Like not including specific overdrives or anything. Like what's something on your board that is like essentially, as long as you have this on your board, you know that you're going to be able to somewhat get the sound you're looking for.
I mean, if we're not talking about drives, like for me, it's like compressor, like like tuner and compressor, man. Like I'll play your show. Yeah,
literally.
Yeah.
And how do you like? I feel like you like it a little more like sustained than I do. Like a little bit more of like that.
There's a little more
attack,
squish.
Yeah.
Like, the nice thing about the Wampler is that like the blend.
Yeah,
there's huge.
And I will say I don't have it on my board right now, but I have an Ego at home, and that's my favorite feature of it for sure. Is the wet dry blend. Yeah,
I feel it does that squish, but it also doesn't really take much of the dynamic away.
Yeah,
which is really nice to have. But honestly, I'm starting with that for the stuff I do too. Is I will have a volume pedal.
Yeah,
like, I'm big on the pedal steel stuff.
Do you like the Dunlop or do you like the Ernie Ball?
You know what? I was doing a session last night, and a buddy of mine had the mini Dunlop.
I love this for like the
Ernie Ball, man, VP Junior. That's a win for the rest of my life.
I love the feel of it so much, but I've broken the pod on them. They need to make.
Are you ripping on it?
Oh, dude, have you seen? I've seen Darren. I've literally seen Darren Savard break like 3 of these, just like boom, like after the song, go to like do it, and it's like he just like runs over and just smashes them. It's like
I caress it, man.
This is the best feeling one to me
you
by far. But I feel like they need to like make a geared one that feels the same.
A geared one?
Like because the like Dunlop is frictionless because it has like the gear, the actual like metal gear. I feel like if they could make that have like a little bit of resistance, that would be perfect.
It's weird. I was explaining it last night. It's like it's almost kind of like you can feel the grease in the wheel. Is that weird? Like
No,
when I'm
that's
moving,
a good expression. Yeah.
it feels greasy. Like
Yeah.
in a good way.
Derek, I have not messed with the microcosm, but Aaron Marshall like keeps telling me about his, and he's like, dude, like for any of the soundscapey ambient stuff, this is like it's not like anything else. So I really would like to try. Have you seen that? The hologram, I think it's hologram, the microcosm.
I haven't.
I don't even. It's not a delay, but it's like a phrase sampler is what they call it, basically. Okay. So it's almost like to a certain degree a looper, but it has these like just crazy effects built into it. See, it's almost like a reverse tape delay reverb
weird
thing. Like it's crazy. I can't even really describe it. Step sequencer, is that what it is? Is that what it would be called? Yeah, cool. Yeah, it's really cool. So no, I haven't, but I would really like to try it. That's what it is right there. Yeah, that's a really sweet pedal.
So we had Joshua asking as well.
Joshua,
don't be embarrassed to ask a question,
dude,
man.
no problem at all. It's funny because it is a hard one to explain.
Many ways you can explain it.
There's many ways you can. Like I essentially like to think it like you set the parameters of the pedal, and anything that's kind of outside of that, it brings inside of what you've dialed. It is a very and that sounds very vague, but like in terms of if you think about what drum triggers do for drums, like that's a very not 100% correct example, but like it's the same concept, like kind of like regardless of the velocity that you're hitting it at, it's going to bring it up to be somewhat even with everything else, or lower than everything else, depending on how you dial it. Alex says makes everything loud. That's what it is. You can kind of think of it that way. Like you'll essentially set a threshold for the input on the pedal, and kind of anything below or above that, it will bring up or down to hit the same level. Yeah. Same thing with your pick attack. You'll kind of dial in like a pick attack setting, and it will either make the attack sharper or looser. You can kind of just adjust parameters, and it keeps everything within that. So for certain tones, like Brad, you're saying like play some of those licks without it, and then turn it on.
Yeah, I'll start with a pick. Essentially, this is with it off.
Okay.
It's a bit more open when I put it on.
Yeah.
Almost brings like a bit of warmth too, but it's like consistent, like I guess the consistency, and then
for the right hand stuff specifically, like the attack.
So if I put that on,
like right away you can hear it, and the way you have it dialed, again, it is very squishy, and it keeps everything within that. Like with the way I have it on,
it just spanks.
Let's turn the reverse delay off. Whoops. It's still going. So that's with it off.
It's like a spank. There's like a bit of a spank.
So yeah, if you listen to the chord, off, on.
It almost like contains it.
It's like one of those like things that they'd make you wear under your dress. Like
what is that?
Like when I don't even know what it was called. Yeah, the thing that's in all the Disney movies that all the
corset.
Corset. That's what it's called.
I usually use a corset on stage.
I'm surprised no one's made a compressor called that yet. The corset compressor. I feel like those things are frowned upon nowadays because those were never a good idea or good for anyone.
It's not healthy,
and it's not a good expectation for people to look like that. But anyways, that's basically what it does. Thank you. My mom's here and she says corset. That's hilarious. So I'd say for me too, like aside from like a tuner, like a compressor would be a pretty necessary thing as well. Because even for like those kind of spankier, this is just the G2 running into the front. And the compressor on.
Oh yeah.
Right? Like it gives it that that sharpness, which you might not always want. Oh, it does exist. Okay, there you go. Electro-Harmonix thought of it. Thanks, guys.
Oh, crazy.
I mean, as soon as I thought of that, you did that visual. I was like, oh, that is kind of what it does. Whatever. Anyways,
what's your favorite pedal?
It does that.
What's it called?
Revv Compressor 1. I don't know. I don't know if we would do that because I feel like anything we want to build, we want to make sure that we could do it like better, the best. And there's a lot of great compressors, so the push up. That would be an essential for me too. There are certainly I do use that for like pretty much all leads and those snappy or mid gain tones where you really want more of that focused attack.
I know a lot of guys whether if I was, working at Long McQuaid and stuff like that, it's like, oh, I use a compressor, and it's like you always have it on. It's like
Long McQuaid's Canadian Guitar Center for people who don't know.
yeah,
that.
that's
It's like Kmart compared to Walmart, though. They're both true. No, I was gonna make it. I will say L&M legitimately has turned into like such a very reliable and consistent now. Like going across Canada, like there wasn't that for a while. Like it's really nice to have a chain that
they're everywhere.
Yeah, and like they've been great to us too. So we love those guys. But do you feel like humbuckers need a compressor too, or only single coil stuff? That's a good question, Anthony, because I do. Yes and no. I find that personally, I only really use I use them more with a single coil. But I think it's because of the way it pushes the mid-range, like for that type of tone. Like I do sometimes use it for, if you want to do like the gent rhythm thing. Yeah. Like it definitely adds a lot of tightness there for that too. So I would use it in that situation for humbuckers. But I feel like more often than not, I am using it more for that kind of like spankier mid-range.
Yeah. So when I have my Les Paul, I would basically always have that on at all times with the heavier stuff I played.
For STP style tones, actually, you know what I was going to say? Let's jump into the pedals here. And I would say probably for Stone Temple Pilots tones, you would want a G2. The G3 is more saturated. The G4 is even more saturated than that. But the G2, I think, is probably the most versatile pedal we have, from like really light kind of mid-gain crunchy stuff all the way up to like pushed Marshall-esque, high, like not like super saturated metal tones, but like definitely higher gain, crunchier tones.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's take a look at it, I guess, each of the pedals now and like how you'd use each of those. So like I have, like I tried to wire my board so that if I was using a 120 or a G120, I could use the same board for both. But I will say, like generally how I'm treating it is I'll use the G2 for like any of like the slightly broken stuff or like the spankier stuff like that.
Yep.
And then I also will use the G2 to boost into the G4 or the G3.
Right.
But I also will like to have, like when you're running these as an amp channel, it's nice to have other drives that you can hit in front of that. And I will say, yeah, like I with a single channel amp, I try to think of it like that. Like each stage is essentially like a different channel, so you don't want to dial anything too much in one direction. Like with the G3, I have the gain barely at anything because I'll probably use the compressor or the G2 in front of it. Like I want to make it so it's like kind of like incremental gain stages, so that I'm not just screaming when I get to this point.
Right. Yeah.
And everything can be used independently and in conjunction. So it's kind of finding that balance.
It's just weird that you say that. Now, are you, when you say that pedal you have there going into the G2?
Yeah.
Because on my Quad Cortex, I have like my heavier drive going into my lighter.
Oh yeah.
And
well, it depends on the way you want to do it, right? Like with this, the way that I'm using this is I'm thinking of like this is boosting this channel.
Right. So is that purple one?
It's a tube screamer.
Okay.
Yeah, basically.
I think that's the same concept that I have on the Quad Cortex.
Right.
Where
you're using it into the
It depends if I'm stacking them.
Yeah.
Even if they're on different scenes where they're on or off.
Yeah.
I there was something that I had seen, was it Vertex Effects, that they had said that it's a personal preference, but it's nicer to have something heavier before you put that lighter gain in there.
I guess it depends on how you want to do it. Like I kind of go from the opposite approach. Like either way is good. Like there's no way, like for what I personally do, I generally will go like, I guess it depends on, again, it's like, do you put your delay or your reverb first? Yeah. Everyone says put your reverb after because the delay will repeat into that. But like, what if you want it to go the other way? Yeah, you can go that way. It doesn't really matter. Personally, I kind of go low to high because I'll kind of stage them in that way. And like, I'll want, like the lower gain pedals are going to hit the higher gain pedals harder. Whereas like, I feel like if you, the lower gain going into this will push this a little bit more. Right. Whereas like the super high gain thing going into this might add a little bit more, but it might just push it a little harder than I want, I guess, if that makes sense. Yep. Like kind of, that's, yeah. But again, like it's kind of the beauty of this is like everyone will do this differently. So yeah, with the G2, I guess, let's talk about the G2. Like you were just saying you were having fun playing it into that channel, but
yeah, it sounds so good.
Yeah. So
I had a rookie move. I'm just going to,
rookie move.
God.
So this is a starting point here. Marshall. here. So I'll just start with it flat. I generally like to, like the G2 where I like to use it for both like an amp channel thing and for a boost, I guess, kind of finding a sound that is in between everything that I can use as both.
Yeah.
Is what I like. I will say with all of our pedals, I'm a pretty big fan of the blue aggression, especially with the G2.
I prefer that one too.
Yeah. I do like the red. It's funny. I like the red with the gain really low because the way it saturates, if that makes sense. But like generally, if I'm going to push the gain on here, I do like the blue quite a bit more.
See, that sounds perfect for what you're doing there. It sounds ridiculous.
With that type of tone, yeah. So it's just the clean. And again, the compressor can kind of boost it going in front. Or like you want it to kind of split between those two sounds nicely.
Yeah. When you put the compressor on, I felt like it just held everything together nicely and warmed it up a little bit. Might get like a little nerdy, but I find as soon as you put the compressor on, it kind of took the higher frequencies out, almost like flatten the transients.
Yeah, totally. Where it brings it in. It does.
It's not as brash.
Yeah. But it does that with the frequencies too. Like it brings everything in. Yeah, Robbie, I definitely am a fan of the gold and the shocking red. So I realize this might look confusing because this is actually like the purple channel here, but I don't know. I just think they look really sweet. Like maybe I'm just used to the regular channels, but yeah. Oh, thanks, Anthony. I appreciate it, man. Yeah, and one thing we were talking about this earlier too with the G2, like it is when the EQ is flat, like it is fairly like full sounding.
Yeah.
And I've had a lot of people reach out saying, hey, I'm wanting to get a little bit of the low end out, but I'm rolling back the bass and it's just kind of hollowing it out more. And I will say the biggest thing with the G2 to me is the way that the treble control responds.
Yes.
Once you start pushing it like over 1 o'clock, the whole thing opens up, and it's not necessarily linear. Like it's not like a 0 to 10 scale. I find once you start to push more, the whole top end opens up, and therefore you can actually push the low end on the pedal more. So like, just for the sake of it, like kind of a more Marshall-y type tone. So as opposed to doing this. You definitely get more clarity that way, but push the mids a bit and do that.
Oh, man. Big time.
So yeah, G2 owners, don't be afraid to push that top end because like it definitely...
It's a scary knob, man. Like
as soon as you hit that point, it's just like, whoa, everything just opened up. And especially for that spank.
But the thing is though, like, and we're talking about before the stream, like before I started working at Revv, I came to see Derek and Sam. Yeah. Literally just for that reason, about something it felt off, I guess, in the bottom end. Yeah. And you're like, no, dude. And you're kind of like, put it like 1 or 2 o'clock in the treble. I'm like, what? I just went home and it was like the best after.
Yeah. Oh, my dad's here with the Tech Talk. Let's go.
Oh, let's go.
You've often used a compressor as a cross/bridge between a limiter and a heavier compression setting. I use 1/6 HX effects along with other pedals, but the HX allows me to put my internal effect in any position in the program chain, reverb and delay, tuning pieces, and easily seen changes across those. It also has the effects that the computer said. Yeah, exactly. Like you can, it's back. There we go. It's back. The bot is back. Like being able to sidechain that type of stuff is great. And I guess like with these single channel amps, like you get a little bit more of a oh, he's taking Kyle. Dude, it's hard to we're gonna block them. Okay, let's just block them. Sorry guys, Loveface XTZ or whatever has to leave the chat.
Can you just leave, please?
Dude, you've made it when the bot pages are coming in.
Without clothing? I didn't sign up for this, Sam.
I'll stop signing you guys up, but
online strips without clothing was blocked. Sorry guys. I think that's a good way to put it. Like we are using the compressor like to act as a limiter. It's like
it really is.
Yeah, that's a very good way to put that. Derek, oh man, who signed us up for that? Pretty sure it's under your email, bud. That's awesome. Yeah, I was just saying, it's like, yeah, like I feel like in the email server too that they're starting to catch on. Pretty sure that's Stoby's hide sauce. He actually has another laptop in the other room that's like feeding us these comments so he can highlight them as we go and feed traffic to his sites. Oh man, that's great. Anyways, yeah, so G2, I think that is like the secret sauce with the G2 for me personally, is like, don't be afraid to push that top end. And yeah, like I don't find it gets too dirty. Like I'll keep the gain around noon because I don't think it gets too dirty when you run it as a boost that way.
Yeah.
So yeah, like in terms of the way I would dial the G2, gain and volume around noon, boost the treble up a little bit, boost the mids up a little bit, and that's pretty much it. And that will cover kind of like your classic kind of rock tone.
Yeah.
Or if you want to throw the comp on and do the
Yeah, man.
yeah.
That's so nice.
Yeah. How do you like to use it? Your settings are looking kind of similar to mine, but a little bit different.
Yeah, I've noticed that. It's definitely probably guitars and the amps itself, but I could probably even juice more of the treble for sure. It's just wholesome. Like,
Yeah,
it's just like
it's
perfect.
a good word for it. Robert, that's awesome, dude. Hope you enjoy the G8. We both we threw them on these boards tonight too. So, is that your favorite delay?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That'll never come off my board.
Yeah.
Is this one?
Yeah.
But I mean, I could probably even push that one a bit more. And the gain, like for, I always hate saying it's like, yeah, for country stuff that I do, but I actually play country, so I can't really change
but I'm
that.
not making it up.
Yeah.
So, yes.
It's like,
Super dynamic too.
yeah.
Yeah. And that was on just the flat, like the non-aggression.
Yeah.
The non-aggression. It was on aggression off.
So it's like,
That sounds really nice with the telly, dude. Yeah. Dude, this, I mean, it's your right hand, to be honest, playing, but like this telly
Come
to me
on
always
now.
sounds great. One is an El Capistan with a MIDI control that would sell my timeline so fast. It's funny, dude, because like I literally only use the tape. I use like the tape preset and the reverse preset on the timeline, which is basically this and the reverse delay. Like, it's the best sounding one. What's the Brigadier? That's the D bucket one, right? Like I like that too. That's also
Yeah.
a good one. I got a G3 on the way, and I'm wondering what kind of tones it's got. Well, we can take a look. We got some here. Just because it's very bright red. Nice. I have the same one on my board. I was thinking of using it as a second gain channel for my G20. Thoughts? Yeah, man, that'd be cool. Like the G3 does have a different, like the G20 is based off the purple channel for sure, but where it has a different amount of preamp tubes and stuff, like the gain staging is different. So the G3 definitely will have a different flavor, and I find the G3 is like super aggressive compared to a lot of pedals, but like
Yeah.
the G3 hitting the front end of a clean amp to me definitely like has some magic about it.
that also is, the G3 is extremely versatile too, though.
Yeah,
Like,
I think more so than people realize. Like we can, yeah. So sorry, we kind of jumped ahead there. That's kind of how I would use the G2. I try to keep it so I can use it as a boost or as a channel, depending on what I want. And I generally find as a channel, I'll use it more for like those mid gain kind of spanky tones. Otherwise, I like using it to hit this other stuff.
yeah.
So yeah, actually, kind of curious. I haven't really tried the tube screamer in it too much.
Can't believe this is so vintage, man.
Yeah,
Like-
like it withholds that, and I think that's what I like about the G2 is it really like you still hear the character of the Marshall a lot.
A lot.
Where like the G3 and G4 to me do have a little bit more of the amp in a box character. Like the
Yep.
G2 definitely showcases the sound of the Marshall a
Oh, yeah.
lot. How can you grow a beard like Brad? I can't because I'm 10 years old. Yeah. So I guess we'll take a look.
Patience.
Now. Yeah.
itching
Yeah.
for like the first little while.
It's very like
Sucks.
finely combed too. Like it's a lot
I'm
of
not gonna lie, man. I combed it before I came on the stream.
Nice. That's sick.
I was hoping you guys weren't gonna hear me on the wireless mic. I'm like, please don't hear me.
You can turn the mic off.
I guess so, eh?
Yeah.
The way I boosted it.
Yeah, that was a button for that.
Oh, look at that. Oh, damn.
Hey man, nothing wrong with that, dude. Like I feel like it's like, just taking care of yourself.
That's part of the game, man.
My mom for my 30th birthday got me like a pass for like this. It's like a male spa for the day, and I'm looking at all the things like, man, there's so much to do with beards here, and I can't do any of that shit. It's like
You can go in the steam room. That's it.
I'm using the JMP, Derek, like the JMP combo. We tried miking up the basement, but we were getting a lot of bleed with the mic through the vocals, so it didn't quite work. But yeah, no, that's just the JMP with the G2, man. Or yeah, it's a nice platform. I will say this is like affirming that I do like a push Marshall a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, the G3 I will say for me is probably the one that I use the most. And as you were saying, like it is super versatile. Like I think the G3 obviously kind of made a name for itself as a higher gain pedal, but even rolling it back, just before I really dive into how I like to use it. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
you can make it do that. Like
Yeah.
it has just like, people ask a lot, like the difference between the G3 and the G4. And like, obviously the gain staging is a little bit different, but like I find the G3 is just very, very, very tight. No matter what you do with it, it's super tight. And the G4 is a little bit more saggy. Derek, I've played that amp once. It was funny. Like Dorian and I went to test it out today. We're like, okay, let's hope it works, because like we never use it. And then we turn it on. It's like, wow, that sounds really good.
Yeah,
It's like, yeah. I need to try the Freeman JJ or the JJ Junior. Yeah, I'd love to. I love Friedman stuff. They make great amps. Yeah, like the G3 just has inherently like a super tight character, like a really nice pushy mid-range. So if you're a fan of like more mid-forward sounds, you'll probably be able to get any sort of gain that you like out of it. Like, turning the gate off too. It's about as low as it goes, but for like a mid-gain leady kind of tone.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, man.
Yeah, it's almost like a fusion-y. As you go, like it does get hot pretty quick, but like. It's like I personally just like that mid-range character a lot.
Yeah.
Like for the way that I like to play.
This is totally like off topic, but I have like a tendency of watching our streams after just to see how things went and whatever.
Yeah.
And I think it was the last stream I was on. I thought of this meme. If you took a still of me watching you play and be like, I wish, my boyfriend would look at me the way Brad looks at Sam when he's playing guitar. And I was literally just doing that just now. I'm like,
Kyle, are you here? Let's Revv meme Thursday it. Let's go. I don't know
take a still. I'm
I
just
don't
like,
know what the meme is for next week yet.
just like, I'm like,
That's how I feel when you play too. We can just sit here and compliment each other all day, as we tend to do. I feel like everybody just like always like gets in their own heads about their own playing though too, and then you watch someone
It's the
who like
worst,
you're a
man.
fan of their playing, and you're just like, oh man, like I wish I could. And it's like when in reality, we both do our thing. But,
Yeah.
But I appreciate it, man.
I appreciate you, Sam.
Appreciate having you here. Okay, no more niceness, tones.
It's too nice.
Will you play the first 10 seconds of Out of Mind? Oh, sure. I was like, Out of Mind. Oh, that's our song. I was like, right, our music's out now. Sure, I'll show you that quickly. So it's an E-flat standard. The whole song is based off of these, like the same chord progression in all the verses. So frozen tune. So yeah, it's kind of like it starts on kind of like an E9 thing, C9. You're essentially just keeping like the middle middle two notes open. So. E type thing.
Oh yeah.
And then it repeats. Except the transition chord is this kind of A or D thing. The classic.
I love that. It's so classic.
Yeah. So yeah, that's basically the riff, man. And then the chorus riff is literally the same progression.
Oh, really? That sounds so good, man.
Thanks, man.
Like,
yeah,
I mean, the song is awesome. Like, I love the song, but like the tone that you have dialed right now.
Oh, thanks, dude. Yeah, it's a G2, man. G2 and a little bit of compression again for that spanky tone. Like, and there's we've gone back to the G2 because it's so awesome. But like, you know, it's a fairly dense chord with like the pedal notes too, and like with that pedal and with the compressor, like everything's even. Yeah,
that's so good.
Pretty much it. Yeah, no problem, dude. Ew, this sounds like theory to me. Ew. Go back to your corner of the internet with all the chart guys. No. Hey, man, I was surprised that I knew it was an E9 chord. Hey, thanks a lot, man. I'm glad you appreciate the songs. We'll hopefully put out some more soon for you. I was originally going to go G2 route, but I played all three and wound up with a G2 and a G4 instead. Nice, man. Just had talked to me something with the G3 wasn't. You know what, dude? You know what? It's funny because like the G3 is the top selling pedal, but at the same time, like again, it's more the character. Like, and the G3 does have that very mid forward character. So if that's not as much what you like, then you probably will get along with the G4 better. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So sorry, back to the G3 for a second. That's probably how I would run it, like not super hot, because then, as I was saying, I like to use like other drives in front of it when you're using a single channel type thing.
Yeah.
So like running the G2 in front of this.
It brings something out. There's
yeah,
it definitely livens it up.
I guess like name of the game with all this for me is like never too much from one single pedal. Like you want to be able to have everything work together when you only have one channel.
Yeah.
Can you show again how the G2 opens up when you turn the treble? Yeah, for sure, man. Do you want to go for it, Brad?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, essentially, I can set it at noon.
Yeah.
So there's that that low end. I wouldn't say flubbiness. That's a sensitive word.
I think it's intentionally quite full bodied, so that it's able to be.
And then, so I'm gonna basically crank this baby right up to like 2 o'clock, and it instantly opens up.
Yeah, dude.
You can hear it. It's just like
it's not harsh.
No.
Yeah, it's crazy. I remember like the first time making that kind of like discovery. It was like, you know, and I'll show you just again on how I would kind of approach that sound. So again, it's not like it's flubby at all, but like there is like a certain like thickness to it.
Yeah. Big time.
Like it's not harsh. It just I'd have to check with Dan as to what it actually does, but like just
I want to know the frequency.
Yeah.
Frequency.
But like, yeah, Franglais.
Franglais.
It's funny. My wife went through like French immersion school and learned just a lot of words in French, and now sometimes we'll just like go back and forth, and it's like no, those aren't real words.
Frequency.
It brings out certain frequencies more, and again, it's not just like a linear. Give me more top end. Like I feel like there is some filtering that's going on.
It's really weird. Some people can be kind of intimidated by that the treble pot, where it's like, okay, I'm going to turn it up. What am I going to get? Am I going to get that brash kind of like 4K top? And it's like, it's like I don't want that.
That's
but there's
not
something,
what it does. Yeah,
it's almost just like a. Now my Manny help me out. My Q is wider.
Yeah, your Q is wider. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like just basically.
What is that in audio speak?
It's like lifting a mountain between 1K and 4K. It's a big mountain on the EQ.
On the visual EQ spectrum. Yeah.
It's like a big boost in that range.
Can't pick something up by tweaking knobs. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. And I also saw someone talking about that too, like. On last time we were talking about like using overdrives with your pedals and stuff, and it's like I don't really think of someone in the Revv group said this, and I forget who it was, but I thought it was a great quote. It's like I don't think of an amp requiring a boost as a weakness. I think of a boost as a flavor you can add to an amplifier, and it's like most amps are going to require other stuff in front of it. So it's like having to do those types of things isn't necessarily adding or taking away. It's just a different variable. French immersion makes me question spelling of words to this day. That's funny. I grew up in Nova Scotia, and they only had like a couple immersion schools in my area, so couldn't do that. But anyways, so sorry, same kind of ideology with the G3, but G3 I do treat as more of a channel for sure, whether it's for leads. Why it's my favorite. How do you like to use that guy? Oh, she's hot.
Not like that.
Here, do you want some with humbuckers?
Let's see if I can.
Yeah, see if you can do it. Like, tread that like kind of like a twang even. Let's mess around. Does that?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's. Yeah, you know what?
Let's get you some hums. Yeah, let's do it. Actually, I'm gonna tread down. So yeah, like keeping it like that. Those chords. Who else listens to Misery Signals and just loves those chords?
I listen to Misery Signals.
Memories.
Those are still the best chords ever. Anything with like the minor second.
Yeah.
But it's pretty, bro. That's the move for sure. This is the beginning. What amp cab are you running? So we're running, Brad's running through a deluxe reverb, and I'm running through a Marshall JMP combo. And we're running them both through the 2 Notes Torpedo Captor X. And I guess I feel like we use the 2 Note stuff so often here that we don't really explain a lot of what it does. But for anyone who is wondering, essentially it's like a reactive load box. So you can plug your amplifier into it, and it will actually absorb all of the load. And give you a direct signal, which you can actually put speaker simulation on. Yep, Alex has got a shot of it right there. So this is a great way to run like your old amps at home. Like we're talking about, like with a lot of these single channel combo amps and stuff like that, where like to get the sound that you want, it's gonna be loud. And this is a way to not only be able to run that at home, but like also experiment with different speaker profiles and all that type of stuff. Like it's unbelievable tech, which is why we chose to put it in our amps. So. Yeah, we've been using the Captor X this year. I was using the Torpedo Reload today for doing some reamping stuff. We use the 2 Note stuff all the time, and it's killer products. So for in the room sounds, it's all in ears. Yep. We hear nothing in the room right now. Like we got just the in-ear monitors here, which is going to the Apollo, which is feeding back to our ears, and that's it. Yeah, no cabs. We actually did experiment with, and this is why this is beneficial, is we did try miking up some amps and stuff, but inevitably you're going to get bleed into the microphones and stuff like that. So for this type of situation, it's like super, super ideal. Sean, you got to play the JMP combo when you're up next. Yeah, dude, Sean, you'll love this amp. I don't like. I just thought it looked really nice all the time, but I really plugged into it for the first time today, and like it sounds just killer. Yeah, like the mid range on this thing is just crazy. I really like the Capture X with the Wall of Sound app. Yeah, totally, man. Wall of Sound's great too. That's like their plug-in version, so you can actually run all the IRs like on a channel strip in a recording. And didn't know you could run a combo through Torpedo. Yeah, it can't be hardwired. These are not hardwired amps, and that was why the Bassman. It's hardwired, so it wouldn't work with that. So we tried miking it, but with these, essentially, we've disconnected the speaker on the back and plugged it into this, and that's it. So any combos where you're able to disconnect the speaker, you could definitely do that. I feel like I was talking with Dorian today, and I feel like they literally just took like a JMP head and put it in here. It's like if you look underneath it, it's literally the exact same.
Oh, really? Is it?
Yeah, like everything is like on the bottom of it, like all the jacks and stuff. So like I feel like it's literally the same thing.
That's crazy.
Just put into a box. So, but yeah, it's cool. What year is this, Derek? If you're still watching there, like Dorian and I were talking, I think it might be 70s, but yeah, it sounds unbelievable. I'm really kind of embarrassed now that I didn't try it more. So, yeah. I haven't played one in years, but I remember it kind of sounded killer. I really like the Capture X sound. Yeah. Yeah, man.
I'm still getting that like.
Oh yeah, well you're running it after the noise gate, so that's probably what. It's all good. That's a good tone though for like a rock tone.
Like that tears, man. My gain's like at 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Sorry guys, unless there's a gate after that.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah. That to me sounds almost like an 80s kind of like drive. Yeah. That sounds. Do you ever use that type of tone with the gig you're doing? Like, do you ever go that high gain?
I wouldn't say I have.
Yeah, it's not a common thing.
How would I say that? I think I used this example last time. Playing. Like it's a Jason Aldean tune. It's just like.
Oh, I never would have guessed that. I would have thought that was like a Nickelback riff or something. Really? Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty. I wonder if I can dial it back down.
Yeah, it's hot, for sure, but it's meant to be hot.
Yeah,
you know,
like I would use it there.
Yeah,
if I'm playing heavier country or like. That would be even my rock tone.
Yeah.
Like right there.
Totally. Yeah.
That's.
And I find like, I'm definitely a fan of like having as opposed to having like the middle aggression and pushing the gain really hard.
Right.
Like. I'll go to like the red aggression and turn the gain like way back. Like you get the same amount of actual gain out of the pedal, but you just get more saturation.
Right.
Versus like there's no more gain in the sound, but you're just getting more of that push.
Bigger push, yeah.
You just do that
one. We can't go there again, guys.
Guys, we can't get into the squeals again. Jason Aldean is Nickelback with a banjo or something. Sean, nice, dude. That's killer. Yeah, basically. Dude, some of those riffs, though, man, like, I was just saying that, I forget who we were talking at lunch the other day. I was like, man, I never got the hate with Nickelback. Like, there's some, like they rip, dude. Like, yeah, you can't really hate. Like, yeah, some of it's, like, intentionally kind of gimmicky, but, you know, it's great tunes. Yeah. Do you want to actually trade rigs for a bit? And try, like, how would you use this? Like, Let's see Brad.
Sure.
Let's see Brad play some metal. Actually, I'll grab the telly.
Yeah, I was gonna say let's.
Yeah, we'll trade off for a little bit and see here. The Shocking Red looks like neon orange. Dude, I was talking with Dorian and like he's our in-house photo guy, and he's like, I've never encountered a color that is harder to photograph than the Shocking Red.
Really?
He can't like he's like it's impossible to actually get it to like look the way that
It almost feels like a blaze orange at times when I'm working in the shop.
It's like a pylon. Should just call it the pylon orange. Every time I will still go to hit this volume pedal.
Oh yeah.
Even though it's hit me with that G2 and the L cap. Yeah. And turn that fun guy on right there, the L cap. This is such a revealing tone compared to what I use.
It is.
It's funny how like this is like a totally different tone than I would go for with these pedals, but can't cover my mistakes.
Oh man. Dude, that sounds so good. I feel you can hear like
Every character of
a
it.
natural body and neck
Yeah.
sound from that. You can hear every detail.
Yeah, like and again, like the G2 to me, like my guitars don't have like I don't play tellies that often, so just like the way that it's responding is like
Man, that sounds so good.
Turn on that Catalina for a sec. Oh, or don't. That chord. Wonder if this will sound similar on humbuckers. Seems nice. I gotta copy that. Yeah, well, I don't know. Why don't you give it a rip, man? What do you want on?
Oh man, I'm
Oh, there we go. It's funny how having the gate after the drives makes such a difference. Eh? There it is. Dude, how did you learn all my riffs that fast?
I can't share, man.
That's funny. Insurance commercial came in, do design. I can hear you. Sorry, I didn't catch you there, Dave. It's all good. Best clean tone of the game. Yeah, man. Go ahead. No, go. Go.
Okay.
Put me some metal. Actually, you need the G4 for that. Keep going. G4. G4,
there it is,
G4
yeah.
is the thrash machine, dude. So this is the biggest,
dude.
This is the biggest. Like again, like I'll say it. Like G3 and G4 both have a lot of gain, but the G4 has that like saggy, grimy mid-range
instant.
character.
As soon as you turn it on.
Oh, it's sick. You know what I mean? Like for that scoop sound, it
Yeah.
works. Like, so that's the G4.
Yeah, that's
And then G3. Why does every country dude secretly know Metallica? Robbie says it's because every guitar player had a Metallica phase at some point. Okay. That was actually. I remember, like as a kid, I did like a. It was like a day camp thing, but it was like a rock camp.
Oh yeah.
And like I went in like. I was maybe 11 or 12 and I was into like Linkin Park and like Sum 41 and shit. And like I got put in a band with all these metal kids and they were literally just like, listen to this. And then I listened to it and I came back the next day. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
we're good to go. Like it was like Enter Sandman and I think Sanitarium were the two songs.
Oh
we did.
yeah.
Yeah. Dude, listening back, I remember that was a magical time listening to those records for the first time. You can't really deny it.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So good.
I keep going to hit pedals here thinking that it's going to change what I'm doing right now. It's not. Here, give this thing a rip, actually, with the Evertune. Anyone here have a guitar with an Evertune on it? And what do you think of it? I'm like growing to like this thing a lot, and I don't really want to, but I am. Anthony, yeah, that was the MXR reverb. Drop D.
Oh yeah. It's weird not being able to bend that G.
Yeah. Or you have to like really hold on it to do it. Nice, Adrian. Yeah. I think the G2 gets along really well with Marshall type tones for sure. Robert, I only put the G8 after the G. So ideally, that's not how I would run it in this situation. This is just my pedal board that I already have built, and I didn't want to completely dismantle it. So ideally, I would probably run in this situation the drive pedals in the send and return on the G8.
Right.
Like this amp doesn't have an effects loop, so running the 4-cable method through the amplifier isn't really an option. So in this situation, what I would do if I was able to rebuild my whole board just for this stream would be to run out of the send through these pedals back into the return, and then run everything else through that. So you could kind of create like a sidechain loop. But just because of how noisy this amp is, I did put the G8 after. I generally would recommend putting it first. When you can wire your board to accommodate that. So this was more or less just a fix for not being able to rebuild my entire pedal board before doing this live stream. Need an Evertune guitar. Dude, like, you know what? You can, though. That's what I didn't realize is like Dorian, Adrian, I just heard your comment there. Dorian set it up so that you can kind of bend on it and it just goes back to like the default tension. So like I've been using it to track videos here and it, like in the studio, man, it saves so much time. Like I'm realizing that like literally half the time is tuning.
Is literally tuning.
Literally tuning. Yeah, and it saves so much and it, like every take you do is perfectly intonated.
Oh yeah.
Like, you know, it's such a cool tool, man. Like I'm growing to like it for sure. It definitely cannot be used for everything, but for what it does do well, it's so sick.
What did you call that? Was it boomer bends?
Boomer bends. That's no Tim Henson called them that.
I can't.
But,
oh.
are you turned up?
It feels like I'm gonna like snap a string or something, man.
It's weird when you're bending and it doesn't go.
It doesn't go, and then finally hits that
And then
point.
it finally goes and it goes like a lot.
Nothing yet.
You really gotta dig in. But then play an open D. It'll be perfectly in tune no matter how hard you hit it. Like hit it as hard as you can. Like it's not.
Yeah, that's insane.
It's never gonna go. Yeah, cool, man. Well, I would say that's like I feel like.
So my question is,
Yep.
and I know we've started it, is like your essential fly rig, right?
Yep.
So I mean, essentially, we had gotten up to a compressor.
Yep.
And I know we had talked about this in the shop as well.
Yeah.
Previously, where I literally said straight up that I could literally fly with the G series, and
Yep.
I would take that anywhere, any day.
I would too.
Volume pedal, tuner,
And
compressor, and then the series. Like,
and because you can kind of like as we kind of went through, like depending on your approach, you can treat each of these as a channel, and that's what I do. Like when I use a D20, or as you said, like with a backline thing, where you're going to get just like a clean amp, and to have pedals that can operate as a channel or to feed into a channel and dial something that kind of works for both settings is super
Right.
clutch. But I do find, like for me personally, the G2 and the G4, I always have on my board, because if I do need to switch amps, I know that if that amp doesn't have a good gain channel, all I have to do is put it on the clean channel and use those.
Yeah.
and it will work how I want it to.
So will it? Let's say, is your board going to change if you can take your own rig?
Yeah.
Or else you have a backline. What's going to change the most in there?
That's a good question. I mean, I could do without the modular effects and stuff if I had to.
Right.
I do need a bit of delay. I would say those are my staples. Yeah, like if I could have, aside from the G series pedals, if I could have a compressor and a delay, I could probably get through most gigs.
Right.
I would say, and the delay is just like for the lead stuff, and I don't know if it's just to mask my shitty playing, but like I just kind of like having the. I just kind of like having the. I kind of like having a blanket over my tone so it's muffled. No, I don't know. I like the feel of like that depth, like
Yeah.
kind of just having that feeling of depth in your sound is something I like, and I almost like having it a bit wetter so that my playing isn't quite as in my face. Like I'm kind of realizing I like it to sit a little bit lower.
Right.
So yeah, for me personally, compressor, G2, G3, and a delay, I could probably get the sound that I want out of pretty much any amp.
So you can make one board either if you're traveling with your own stuff, your own rig,
Yeah.
or else backline. So basically, you can have one.
Either
to
or,
them all.
yeah. And I think truthfully, like with the G, if I had to pick one pedal, I probably would go with the G3 for me personally, because I do need the higher gain stuff. Like I know with like Derek would unanimously take the G2, as I think most players would, because the G2 is the G2 is the most flexible by far. But just for the overall character and what it does, I probably would go with the G3. I feel like I can get it low gain enough using volume that anything cleaner than that, I could just go with my amp. And I do want the headroom for a heavier tone. So yeah, I would go like compressor, G3, delay. Could
Right.
probably make it through the set
Right.
with most amps. Yeah. Yeah, and it's funny because like I feel like with high gain stuff, it's a little bit more tedious. Like I feel like there's, as you were saying, like most backline amps and clean amps are voiced so that they'll respond really well to like those broken tones. But like the really high gain tones, not as much. Like unless you're throwing a ton of drives and stuff at it, or unless you have something like the G2, the G3, or like the Friedman's a great one too. There's lots of companies that do like great amp in a box pedals, but for me personally, the G2 and the G3 are going to do pretty much anything I want.
It's really weird with my rig. Like I know when I would play around home, it's so funny when I was playing at like Country Fest or whatever.
Yeah.
My first text would be like to Derek. It's like,
Yeah.
what do you got there, man? It's like, are you there? He's
What
like,
do you
"I
got
am."
this year?
So it's
And
like if
then
I
you
pull
look
up,
up and Derek's up rigging the lights.
but it's like
Yeah.
every time a D20 was sitting there, I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
It's just basically I find that amp, like you said, it takes the way it takes pedals.
Yeah.
It could become like it should become a backline staple, to be quite honest.
The D20?
That's my opinion.
Well, dude, like, I agree, and maybe I'm a little bit biased, but like I feel like the more that people are starting to use direct solutions, it could be a good solution for both.
Yeah.
Like, you have it with cabs there and you have it direct, and it's like, dude brings his pedal board in, great, plug right into this, right into front of house.
Yeah.
And you're good to go.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I definitely agree with that. Derek, yeah, carbon copy, G2. Carbon copy, I will say, like, as much as I love the Strymon stuff, like, for the sound, like, if I had to have one delay, probably a carbon copy.
Yeah.
Just super simple. Like, I love the tone of it. And then now that they have one that actually does, like, the carbon copy deluxe does, like, tap tempo and stuff, like, that's
nice.
That was my only qualm with it before. But, like, I still have one, and it's not on here right now, but it generally stays on there just for when I want to throw something on and go,
Right.
Yeah.
So when it comes to like for you, let's say we like move into like the high gain stuff.
Yep.
Are you going to be relying on, let's say, the G3, or are you going to be relying more on the tone coming from the amp?
For high gain stuff, if you're using a single channel amp, I think I probably would choose to rely more on my pedals.
Okay.
I think, kind of as we mentioned before, like if I only have a single channel to work with, I need it to move both ways.
Right.
So like if I have, even as you were saying with your Hot Rod Deluxe, it's like it has the capability to do the gain within the amp, but then that masks my ability to go clean without messing with the amp. And I think in that situation where you're going to run a single channel, most of your tone needs to be easily shapeable.
Yeah.
So personally, I in that situation would rely more on my pedals for that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm not sure how you would feel about that too, but if that makes sense, like I want my cleans to be clean when I want them to be. So if
Yes.
I'm running the amp too hot, it's not going to do that.
Yeah.
So I would kind of get the amp just to the edge so that I could pull it back a little bit with this on the volume pedal if I need to get it like super, super clean. But I can get all the gain and stuff I need as I kind of progressively work down the chain here and not have to worry about my amp, being too hot.
Right. I kind of like feel I can relate, I guess, in that sense where, the relationship I've had with Derek and Revv, where if I knew I was doing like a backline gig and then it was in a pinch, cool, here's a G3. Okay, so yeah, so it's like I'm using that. But if I'm actually traveling and I can actually take my own rig, which I have my 740, and at the time I was using a Torpedo Live.
Yeah.
And I'd use my cab just as a backwash, like a side wash essentially.
That's my favorite way to run
And
anything. It's direct with just cab fill,
Yeah.
for body. And then your front of house guy's happy because he isn't competing with shit for a front of house mix.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
with me, I would use my G2, even though I have the green channel on the 740. But I would definitely take my high gain from the red channel on the 740. I wouldn't have a pedal before that.
Yeah.
It was just coming straight from the amp itself. So,
Absolutely. And
but
you have that within the amp. That's like running the G20. Like you have the gain
Yeah.
channel, right? Like
But if it's a backline, like
yeah.
100% I'm taking a G3 or
Yeah, to
something
shape,
along those
to
lines
shape it
with
on
me.
the front end.
Yeah.
Anthony just asked a good question. Would you rather have a clean power amp like a Duncan Power Stage or a real backline amp if you're using a G3? In that situation, I would go with a real amp all day. The Power Stage is great to me if you're using it for straight power and amplification and not for tone shaping. And I know it does have obviously an EQ and stuff on it, but anytime I've used the Power Stage is when I've used like a fractal unit where all of the preamp modeling is coming from within the modeler and you're just using the Power Stage to power it. So 100%, if I just had a G3, I would take a backline amp any day over a power amp.
100%.
Yeah, 100%. Guys, remind me, 2 notes equipped amp run. Yeah, absolutely, Andy. Yeah, you can do both. Yeah, you can run, and that's how I prefer to do it all day. Like run stereo off the back of the head into front of house, and just use the cab because like there is definitely something to be said for like the body on stage of having cab fill, and also too for all the kids that are like front row that the PA is just going to shoot over their head and all they're going to hear is fucking cymbals and kick. It's like, yeah, exactly. I think that's the way to go for sure. And
I mean, like, not to cut you off, man.
No. Oh, dude, you're the worst. No.
This is your last stream, by the way.
Just let me talk for the whole thing.
The thing is, like, it's kind of like expand more on what Sam was saying is, when I had the Torpedo Live, and this had like also being a sound guy, I hate using that term. I find that can be offensive. Hey, sound guy. We've all been there, right? Hey, Manny. Hey, sound guy. But anyways, straying off.
I have a name.
Sometimes you get a 57 thrown like right in the tweeter, like right in the cone, and it's like, okay.
Yeah.
So it's like
on axis on the tweeter.
with the torpedo
That's brutal. Yeah.
It's like, yeah,
Don't
it's
even
like,
say that, man.
Yeah.
So
just
the beauty
blow your ears out.
of the torpedo stuff, being able to send that to front of house, you can dial all that in by yourself at home. And with torpedoes, like since they introduced like the dual miking thing,
Yeah.
I'm like a 121 with a 57 or like a 414 on it, you can put on there.
Yep.
I mean,
And you can adjust like the room size.
and then you don't have to worry about
Yeah.
a mic just being tossed on your cab, and it's like, oh.
Yeah.
And you have to go, like, I've done shows where I've had to go back in the middle of a song and like
Move it because
move my mic, and it's like, come on, man. Like, but
Well, you know how it is sometimes to change over at these festivals too, though. Like people are running around
That's
like
the thing.
chickens with their head cut off trying to get
Yeah.
stuff going. So it's never intentional, but
Although I will say, I will still mic up a cab, even if I do get the direct out, just to kind of like blend
You
it. and
can
get
blend
like-
it.
Yeah.
yeah.
But you kind of have to know where your placement is going. That's all.
yeah, that's exactly it. And that's also like, I guess like if you're on the road and like didn't have your own sound guy, it's like a way to consistently get the same mic placement.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Look at,
That's where the torpedo comes in.
The 57 hanging from the cord, dude.
Yeah.
I can't even handle that.
It's like reliving all your gig days.
Okay,
Or not
like-
gig days, like all the bad gigs. It's like, nah,
I loved
see it.
I loved everything I've done. You know, if I'm playing fiddle, like the older country style, or just playing, traditional French métis, or whatever kind of stuff I'm playing. I've been to some like community halls, or this
The farmers markets.
yeah, something like that, where it's like
Dude,
The sound guy literally hangs a 57.
there's one show in
on the
my
screen.
brain
I'm
at the Fredericton Farmers Market that I'm thinking of, where it's like, oh no. But yeah, you know,
don't do that,
that's
please.
just the way to like, and at the same time, you know, it just does the sound guy favors too, because he doesn't really have to worry about that. Like everything is just kind of done and consistent from the get-go, you know, and it's great tech to have for that regard. So, yeah, very feel, my friend. Oh,
I really appreciate that 57 hanging from the thing.
Yeah, that's
so
it's
much,
like
dude.
throwback.
PTSD.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't get to camera this thing yet. And no matter how hard you hit it, man. You just hit that chord all day because it's so even.
It's so defined, man.
Yeah, man.
Jeez.
It's a G3.
It's so funny because
I was going to try to do a neck bend, but I realized it's not going to do anything on this bridge.
I think you can't, you know, the G3, you can't hide behind that either, just because how like clean and defined it is.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna hear
Every mistake.
something. Yeah.
Manny, Derek asked a good question, and I feel like if you were miking, you might run into this, but do you find there's any weird phasing or latency issues running that way?
Yeah, you can get some phasing issues sometimes, kind of depending where your placement is.
Right. When you're blending direct with mics.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
You can kind of get around some of that sometimes if you play around with time alignment of adding some delay to your signal time or something like that.
Right.
But really just go with what sounds better, and if it adds to it, then use it. If it doesn't, then I wouldn't use it, yeah.
I remember there was one time where Chase tried putting like 2 different mics on each cab and running stereo, and it was just giving me anxiety.
Oh yeah,
It's just like he's just like we had
way.
time, so he's like, oh no, I just want to try it. And like we got like halfway through sound check, he's like, this sounds like shit. It's just like the rest, might as well try.
It's always worth trying something like that.
Yeah,
but sometimes it just doesn't work out.
sometimes you could just profile those mics.
Exactly.
Yeah. What's your clean tone? I mean, with the pedals off. That. Like slightly on the edge. This is with a bit of compression. So like as I was saying, and Brad was saying too, like in that situation where this is my amp tone, I kind of want to get most of my distortion from the pedals. So this is just with the G8 and the G3. Get how to play it. Yeah, that's pretty much all G3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Clean tone.
Yeah. Clean tone, G3. That's it. Nice. Well, yeah. Anything else you want to chat about?
Brandon was asking a question.
Yeah. How do you dial in a combo to take dry pedal as well? Pretty. We were just saying, like, right on the edge of breaking up is probably ideal, because then you have the ability to make it cleaner, and you can build on it, and the pedals will feed off of getting a little bit of edge in your preamp. Nice. Ooh, that was a good one. That was a real solid one.
That's like a sample.
Yeah, it was. We should just record it one day.
And honestly, like, there's no real wrong way to do it either.
No,
you know
definitely not. There is no wrong way to do it. But personally, I think both of us come from the field of, like, if you only have one channel to deal with, you kind of need to be able to put it in a place where you can go either direction with it. Mm-hmm. So, like, this is kind of the clean sound, the default clean sound I was going with. So, like, it can get a little bit hairy, but as soon as I roll my volume back, it gets rid of kind of the sharpness. But again, the pedals will feed off of a little bit of that, because they're hitting the preamp harder when the preamp is working harder. So even putting like the G2 with the drive dialed fairly low, you'll kind of start to get that, but it rolls off, you know, fairly nicely.
So, see, using it that way, it's almost kind of creating like an actual amp, like a pre-breakup.
Yeah.
What you're doing there.
Yeah. And that's kind of what you want to do. Yeah.
Identical. Like almost. Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of this, is Harlow is going to play Toronto. That would be cool. That'd be nice to get out there.
Next week.
Next week, yeah. We got to put out some more music first, but we're going to do that. I think we're going to hope to have a larger body of work done by around the fall and then see what happens. But we're going to start playing shows around Winnipeg in a couple months and get started. So come out to Winnipeg for now if you want. It's cold.
Don't.
It won't be by the time we start playing, but yeah. Cool. Well, thanks again for coming, man. And if anyone has any questions for myself or Brad, or if there's anything you want to hear, now is I think the time. We can start taking some requests there. Otherwise, we'll probably sign her off, have a little jam. Oh yeah, for sure. We're missing one thing. So, what? I guess too, we could ask, what pedals are you guys enjoying right now? And like, what pedals do you guys like to use? What are your kind of like mainstays in terms of like what's on your board that you're going to use? Or if there's anything as well that you think that we should check out that would kind of work for you know what we were doing today. Any cool recommendations? And who's playing combo amps? Like, how many of you guys are playing combo amps and would be interested in combo amps too? Harlow's needs to tour Germany. That'd be amazing. Germany's one of my favorite places. What about blending amps decision with the G series? Yeah, exactly, man. Like that was, you know, as I was saying with this Marshall here, like you can. Sorry if this gets aggressive and angry on you, Manny. I'm gonna go to the high gain input here and hope that we don't all die. Okay, that's not too bad. So this is the amp's high gain input. Actually, that sounds pretty friggin' good, man. Holy crap. Good. Derek, that's the JMP by itself. Oh,
dude.
Man, I was on the wrong channel. Holy crap.
Okay.
So with the G2 now. Dude, I love that.
Wow.
It has a weird mid character, like in a good way. Like it has this really like.
That's a shred machine tone right there, man.
Yeah. I'm gonna try down the G3, like super low.
As a boost almost?
Well, the amp almost boosting that. Like, let's see. now it's angry. Restart the stream. We got the app now. Yeah. Dude, that sounds great. Yeah.
Even if you went back to channel 1 and you turn up the volume.
Do you see that?
What happened?
We got to turn this amp off. It's some steam coming out of her. I'm not even joking. Yeah.
You see it here first, folks.
Yeah.
Derek, don't look.
We're cooking her pretty hard. Yeah, I can hear that. I'm going to turn that off, actually.
Actually, guys, it's Sam's playing that's doing that. It can't handle it.
It literally just like put a little steamy. We're going to let her cool down for a little bit. It might just be like literally hot, but I don't want to push anymore. Now I'm scared. That sounds so good. Sorry, impedance setting on the amp. No, it's all good. Yeah, we checked that before. Yeah.
Oh, I have a few combo amps. Trinity Champ.
Second amp Sam's blowing on the stream. No, I blew a tube last time. It is fine too. I just don't know. We've been cooking her pretty hard, so I'm gonna give her a rest. But yeah, no, we matched the impedance on everything before. It's all good.
I would love to see. I'm not saying combo amps are going away, but I'd like to see them come back. Like,
absolutely. Yeah.
And it's just as I'm getting older, I'm like, I want a combo amp again.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Like there's something just like beautiful about being able to like bring, one thing to the gig and put it down, and if you know what you're getting to, like, I feel like, it's, I guess, like with the, the age of modelers and everything like that, like you used to just go to a gig and know what you were going to get.
Yeah.
Like you could kind of build around that. And I do kind of miss that. And I think, like would anybody, I think I would play a combo like for a lot of gigs.
Yeah.
If it were to come back. Or were to come back. Like if there were to be, like if that kind of ideology would come back, it's like, here's your handful of backline amps that like, are going to do the trick for you.
It's really weird because I basically downsized.
Yeah.
So I bought the Quad Cortex. Matt, or one of our cab builders, a good friend of mine, and he basically built my rig around the Quad Cortex.
Oh, he built your board?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, like
That's awesome.
he built like an in-out box, everything.
Dude, he's like, I'm realizing how legit Matt is. Like he knows his shit.
We used to call him the wizard at Long McQuaid. So
kind of just knows everything.
Just knows everything.
Yeah, just one of those guys.
But
that's awesome.
I found that my rig somehow got bigger and heavier somehow. I'm like, why? It's like this is opposite of what I wanted to do. So it's like, now I want a combo amp and just a small little travel board. It's like, it's just like
something nice and easy.
Something like that. Yeah.
I'm going to turn this back on now. I've turned it off and let it rest for a second. We're back in the low gain.
I'm kind of scared of why Derek's laughing super hard. I don't know if that's like a nervous laugh because his...
Oh, no, it's not. It's working, dude. It's working fine. Like there's no, again, we checked everything. Like it is working fine. I just like saw it do something and then I was like, I'm just going to give it a little bit of a rest here. Let's see if it goes. Oh, that's the wrong way. Okay, guys, this is my first day. It's good.
So, not to extend this, but
no, dude,
at the volume you're at right now, it sounds good. But I feel like it's missing a bit of body. So, can you turn the volume up on there?
Yeah, I would turn the preamp up.
Yeah, turn the preamp up. So now we're starting to get that warmth and that fullness.
Exactly, and that comes from, as we were saying, like. That comes from the tube saturating, and you can't really emulate that way. And having a preamp gain where you can do that, and like someone commented too, like kind of blending it with the amps gain. Like I think having it just at the edge like that and being able to blend it with the tubes pushing.
I just got shivers. Like, that sounded so good.
That's the tone for sure. And it is all about gain staging, like 100%. Like whether that's off the amp or in your pedals, like just those variables together, filling up more sonic space with each step is like huge.
Yeah,
for sure.
The same thing with this. The lower you go, obviously, it loses body, it loses that jam. You bring it up more, like we were speaking earlier of hitting that right at the point of breakup.
Yeah,
and it just brings that warmth and that almost natural compression to it.
Yeah, and
I think that's for me. Your tone was like great all night, but as soon as we just like the last 10 minutes, you started boosting the preamp.
It goes more.
Just like it was so warm and nice.
100%, and that's what we were talking about. The point of this whole thing is like if you have that as your source, you can build on that in any way.
Oh yeah,
you can't really emulate that, but you can dial that back if you need to. So like being able to kind of have that platform to build on is where I would start for 100%. Sure. Yeah, 100%.
Hondo P, man. Gucci.
Single coil, press compressor, press gain stage, still never going. That's a lie. Definitely can. Alrighty. Well, thanks for joining us, everyone. Thanks for coming out again, Brad.
Thanks for having me.
We'll have you back again soon for sure.
Totally.
And as always, if you guys have any ideas of things that you'd like us to cover, or anything you want to see us do in general, whether it's in the stream or in any of our videos or anything, we love to hear everyone's feedback. So please. Dance. Why'd you write that? Please feel free to shoot us a message or leave a comment. And we're checking all that out. And we'd love to hear about what you guys would like us to cover. And that's it. Thanks, man.
That's it. Thank you, man.
That's it. That's all. Thanks for coming out. You want to have a little jam here?
Yeah. Ready?
Yeah, you can start her out. Or it's just an A major.
Yeah. There you go.
I was like, what key are we playing it in?
Hey! Thanks for coming, folks. Oh, bud! Sam, I don't play country. Thanks for coming down.
Heck yeah. Thanks, boys. Have a great night, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.